All right, so in the news today, something that caught my eye from CTV News, as this article says, Ontario to ban cell phones from classrooms during instructional time. Alrighty then, let's see what this article says. As it says, cell phones will be banned in Ontario classrooms during instructional time starting in September. Education Minister Lisa Thompson said in a statement Tuesday that a formal announcement is coming soon, and I quote, Ontario's students need to be able to focus on their learning and not their cell phones, she wrote. By banning cell phone use that distracts from learning, we are helping students to focus on acquiring the foundational skills they need, like reading, writing, and math. Okay, then we're gonna break this down more comprehensively in the next few minutes, but I'm gonna continue here. Some schools already have similar policies, but the province will issue a directive to all public schools for the 2019-20 school year. Government sources told the Canadian Press how to enforce the ban would be up to individual boards and schools. Exceptions would be made for when teachers want to use cell phones as part of their lesson for medical reasons and students with special needs. The Tory government conducted education consultation last year, and while input on the sex education curriculum dominated headlines, feedback was also gathered on a potential classroom cell phone ban. About 97% of respondents favored some sort of restriction on phones in class. And I quote, it was the closest thing we got in our consultation to unanimity, one source said. The progressive conservatives had proposed such a ban in their platform during last year's election campaign. Oh, I hate that term, progressive conservatives. Progressive. Like, make up your mind, you collectivists. Anyway, as it goes on to say, the Ontario Public School Boards Association did not provide comment Tuesday, but in its submission to the government consultations, it had urged the province to continue allowing school boards to make their own decisions. And I quote, students need to be discerning digital citizens, and opportunities should be provided within the curriculum to allow students to safely explore various uses and risks of technology in an intentionally guided and supportive environment, the association wrote. Schools and teachers have well-established limits and boundaries with regards to cell phone use in schools and the classroom, similar to other classroom expectations, which are designed to create positive learning environments. They note that many school boards have policies that allow students to bring their own devices into the classroom for educational purposes. In the classroom, students will use devices responsibly and only the permission and direction of the teacher or other staff member, the Peel District School Board policy says. The Ontario ban would not preclude teachers from using devices as part of instructions. Man, this article is badly written. They're going over things that have become obvious already. The Toronto District School Board used to have cell phone ban, but reversed it after 4 years to let teachers dictate what works best for their classrooms. The board has previously said that enforcing an outright ban was next to impossible, and said that to curb technology use would be to place limits on education opportunities as well. Well, yeah, there's a lot to be said about that, but for different reasons from my perspective. Anyway, a 2015 London School of Economics, oh great, London School of Economics, so they're an authority on things. A 2015 London School of Economics and Political Science paper found that students' performance in high-stakes exams significantly increases with a ban on mobile phones. The improvements were largely seen among the students who were normally the lowest achieving. This suggests that restricting mobile phone use can be a low-cost policy to reduce educational inequalities, the study found. Well, let's kind of get into that a bit. It stops or it reduces educational inequality. So it's basically the same thing that public schools, these indoctrination camps, basically end up throwing at children, saying that they're autistic, they're, all these different things. They need Ritalin, they need to be drugged and brainwashed further. Look, one of the things about the internet is that you have access to vast information. Sure, children could become degenerates by seeing a part of all the degenerate crap on the internet, and there's more of that than anything. And we see that, especially nowadays, which the media is actually promoting with the pop culture. We see that all the time. Children are not like they used to be, and it's alarming and it's scary. But with that said, let's just talk a little bit about the fact that we have this mechanism that gives us access to vast information that allows us to make our own decisions in life, while the school systems force everyone into one category. Like that old quote says, you can you can have an exam and you could tell a monkey, a giraffe, a snake, and a goat to climb a tree. One's going to get there faster than the others, but it doesn't mean the others are stupid. They just can't do that particular task as well, or they're not interested in it. And there's a huge problem with education from that perspective. But another thing is that this organized crime racket called government has an authority on education. Of course they're going to mold children's brains to be dependent and stupid, because the government depends on the dependence of the populace. So I find this to be more of a telltale sign of something completely different than just trying to stop children from being distracted. I learned more in my first year out of school, first half a year out of school, than I did in all of my years combined in school. And why was that? Internet and books. Books I wanted to read, books I was interested in. Books that taught me something that wasn't just indoctrinating me into a system of dependence, which I can basically just grow old in and become a wage slave and then die after I get half my pension stolen from me and all my money, or 70% of my money stolen from me via taxation, to fund these ridiculous indoctrination camps. Folks, I don't know how many times I have to go into this, but these educational systems set kids up to fail. And now, everything from gum, stopping people from chewing gum in schools and stuff. So children are chewing gum. And even though statistically that allows children to think more and be distracted less, instead of fidgeting and doodling and all that kind of stuff, they chew gum. They try to ban that. It didn't work out so well. So now some schools have gum chewing sessions. It's all stupid. It's like a camp, really, and not the good kind of camp. But then at the same time, you have these cell phone rules, and children aren't allowed to explore information. Maybe the teacher says something, they look into it and maybe do a bit of research, because most of these teachers are very, very uneducated and stupid. Do you know how many teachers I've dealt with from public schools that are complete morons? I mean, really, really incredibly stupid, like worse than AOC stupid. And that's saying a lot. This is a huge problem. This is why I advocate for people getting out of the public school system. You are torturing children. Look, it's good to have recess. That's one good time of day, a little glimpse at freedom, so you don't go completely insane like so many kids have in the past. And it kills motivation and pushes children to become drug addicts too, and fail in life and never strive for anything better. Because, you have to be like a doctor or a lawyer, or study this trigonometry course, which none of you have any interest in unless you're building GPSs or working with certain forms of macroeconomics and stuff. It's ridiculous. And they don't teach you how to be financially stable for the most part. There's some schools that do, but it's certainly not a main part of the curriculum. And I mean, folks, math, good. Teach kids math. Science, good. Teach kids science, but allow them to be skeptical and research this stuff and debate each other. But these public school indoctrination camps that the government forces on children are hurting children. It's destroying children's futures. It's creating decade after decade, generation after generation, slowly, more incrementally further, generations of stupid people that are dependent and sad and depressed and not happy with their life and don't ever strive for anything and think they got to follow some certain system that they've been indoctrinated into, including the government, and believing that they need to depend on government like mommy and daddy, like their teacher, for success, for privilege. Individuals make their privilege. They earn things. They do what they can to be strong and break free from any of the chains that so many so revere. freedom comes from the individual and out of responsibility. And sure, they teach responsibility in school, but it's a watered down quasi-neo responsibility that children, again, are indoctrinated into, led into, brainwashed into, that doesn't include anything outside of the government. I mean, individual responsibility, but we must obey, bow down. We need to depend on the government for this, Social Security, banks robbing us, fiat being printed out of thin air, which they don't teach you about, all that kind of nonsense. So folks, again, let's get children out of these camps and teach them to be responsible and learn what they wish to learn and see the consequences of being lazy and not doing things themselves early before they're told their whole life that they're a winner with the self-esteem movement, and then they hit 25 years old, as George Carlin said, and suddenly someone calls them a loser. You're a loser. And it's their boss, and they get fired, and it's the first time they realize, wow, I'm a loser? I never thought of that before. Well, I guess I'm just going to be a loser for the rest of my life because I got to get a job and maintain my own finances and stay alive. So I guess I'll just stay being a loser. And I know, it's just, I don't want to rant on too much more, but it's just a huge, huge problem that we need to break free from, because children are the future. And if we make our future stupid, we reap the consequences. So anyway, be educated, read, conflict your own viewpoints, go against confirmation bias, do whatever you can to break free. And don't be dependent, be responsible, self-sustainable, free human beings, decentralize yourself, rule yourself, and stop being a slave. Anyway, until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
Like what you see here, OM, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so heavily demonetized and censored by YouTube, as these guys come in and flag all of our content as hate speech. The shadow banning is getting really bad, guys. Also, check our Bitcoin address right here on the screen or in the description below. We really appreciate it. And of course, check us out at the Red Pill Expo 2019. Of course, the great G. Edward Griffin and so many other incredible speakers will be there. Our link for that is below as well. And we cannot forget Mike Maloney's goldsilver.com, which you can also find in the description. One of the greatest market and monetary historians out there. We really encourage everyone to check that out. But until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.
Bye.